get some of you to try to talk about them. Why you think that the two images, the apparition of human faces and the petals on the wet black bough, are related, and why are they part of Ezra Pound's experience of going out of the subway car? Okay, so let me try to get some of you to try to talk about them. Group 1. So what could they mean? Apparitions of these faces in the crowd.
I think it's because when we walk in like the MRT station today, we're usually in a rush. Therefore, we walk very fast and we don't have much facial expression. So the author may think that the appearance are like ghosts.
Very good. But then why are they petals on the wet black bough? How are they related? The faces and the petals, how are they related? How about Eleanor?
I think they are similar to each other.
Why?
Because the petals are wet and black, and it's
what?
Wet and black.
Wet? The petals are in the background of the black color. The bough are black, right? Okay, but the petals should be colorful. I try to visualize it as having pink colors, but it may not be pink colors. It may be just some red, some purple colors, but they should be colorful, right?
So they are in contrast.
In contrast. Why?
Because people on the street are in a rush or something, and so they kind of look like gloomy, and so the colorful petals.
So you mean human faces? The faces seem to be a blur, right? Okay, so they are not colorful.
Yes.
But petals are colorful. Why? So why do these two lines express Ezra Pound's experience of going out of the subway car? Or can anyone from this group try to answer it? No, actually, Image's poem. This is called Image's poem. 意象诗. It doesn't have any narrative, only images, and you can make have your wild imagination about what it can mean. So how about Alan? Another way to ask a question is when you are in MRT station, how do you look at the people around you? Do you see them as blotches of colors, or do you see them as flowers, or do you see them as petals, or do you see them as just moving animals? Indifferent.
I think petal and the bough is kind of in contrast because the petals may represent some vitality and it's very vigorous. But however, the bough maybe it means kind of just have no life and just kind of without any vitality. Yes.
Okay. Why do you think that the boughs have no vitality? Some people actually compare the bough to the cars, to say that like if we are outside the train, and when we look inside through the car windows, we see human faces as petals, and then the train itself is like the bough. That's one possibility. Yeah. But this is another possible image, and that is when you walk out of the station and you see human faces, and the human faces are like petals. Okay, so why do you think that the bough has no life, or it is lifeless? And then petals. Petals seem to be falling out of the flowers, right? So supposedly they are to die. How about Kelly?
I think petal is related to the human's face, and because we are in rush in the MRT station, so we can see the people's face. We can see their face very vague, and it's not clear. So I think maybe it's a symbol of died or something.
Symbolic of what?
Symbolic of dying or something.
Okay. Well, I think Alan and Kelly gave two possible interpretations. One is to see human faces as petals being alive, colorful, against the dark background of the car, the subway car, which is lifeless, mechanical, lifeless. But then I think Kelly sees more of the human fragmentation. It seems that in this modern world or postmodern world, people are rushing here and there. We don't really understand them. We only have transient contact with them. So it seems that those lives are not really lives. They are just images, dead images. Okay, so I think both interpretations can work. Yeah. Okay. How about ML? Do you have anything to add to the connection between faces and petals? Or if you can also try to compare crowd and wet black bow. If we see the two lines as being kind of in parallel with each other, then the crowd is relative to wet black bow, just as faces relative to petals. So why is crowd related to wet black bow?
Maybe the reason why crowd is related to wet black bow is because of their size. Because crowd is a huge size and black bow is also a huge size, so I think they are related. And
also, I think they are what make us indifferent.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
we are small compared to those objects.
Right, and also when we're in a crowd or when we are in the car, we are surrounded by so many different things.
Yeah,
so many
exactly.
Strange things. Yeah. Okay. Good. Anything else to add?
I think metro station is a place where different people from different walks of life gather in a place. So I think petals kinds of is a symbol of different people from different places. So in my opinion, petals should be colorful and should be colorful because people have different appearances and they have different background.
Yeah, I actually think so. I think that you can use this poem as a criticism of modern life, as a criticism of the indifferent world of the metro station. But then you can also say that if you know how to appreciate metro station and the subway car, then you can see beauties. You can see beauties out of the fast-changing images. You have can have some temporary contact, with those faces, even though you don't know them. You can still appreciate their beauty. It's just like petals. Once they fall from the flowers, they are to be gone very soon. They are to fade and die very soon. Okay, but then at this moment, when they are still seen as petals, they are beautiful. So I think there is this effort in appreciating the transient for me. But as I said, I think the Alan's and Kelly's interpretation both work. You just need to use analyze the lines, the implications of the words more to support yourself. Yeah. Okay. Let me show you the film introducing Ezra Pound. We have dealt with a lot of writers. Each of them have their very interesting lives. but we really cannot introduce all of their lives. So maybe I'll also skip the life of Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound is very interesting because towards the end of the Second World War, he was arrested by American Army as being a traitor, siding with the Italian government, etc. Okay, or the Nazis, but fascist. People claim that he supported fascist government, but it was something which is very controversial, and a lot of Pound's friends defended him, to say that he was only interested in poetry. He didn't really get involved in politics, etc. Let me just talk about show you the part where the metro poem is introduced. The following few slides, I think I can skip very fast. This is just my transcribing of what Ezra Pound said, of his experience of seeing faces, and then trying to capture the sensation of the experience in the blotches of color. And then he finds the pattern of these colors. Okay, and then he uses image as a kind of language and color. So he used language or words as his pigment, 就像是文字是他的那颜料一样，去把它画出来。好 ，OK， yeah, this is again his experience. So let me skip it. Basically, yeah, this is his statement of what imagism is. Okay, that imagism deals with the thing itself. It's a very economical use of words, and it does not use classical meter. Okay, and for him, for Ezra Pound, classical meter is like metronome, 就像节拍器一样，哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒。Okay, for him that's too mechanical, so he did not like it. Okay, so he just tries to capture the pure image. Okay, this is another William Carlos Williams. Here he comes. William Carlos Williams is another modernist poem who wrote images poems too. Okay, so this is another very famous and very short poem. It just talks about the red wheelbarrow. So much depends on a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rain water beside the white chicken. Okay, so it's a pure image. Just redness, whiteness, the rain color, the shiny rainy surface, and that's it. Okay, you can even say that this poem doesn't mean anything. It's just an image, just an image. Okay, William Carlos Williams is very interesting because he once also wrote a note to his wife about the food in the refrigerator, and then later it becomes a poem. So in other words, daily matters can be turned into poems as long as you cherish it, as long as you present it in poetic form and make it poetic, make it colorful, colorful image, or maybe embed with a lot of meanings, and then that's a poem. Yeah, and sometimes if you put the whole thing in one sentence, in one line, it's just daily language. But then sometimes what matters also is how you arrange the lines. At the end of the this PowerPoint file, I have another poem, one with all the words put in one paragraph, and then the words arranged in poetic form, and you can read them yourself. You'll find out that once the poetic form appears, then you feel poetic. You feel that some words get to stand out, because of the enjambment. 就是他把那个整个诗行 break 整个句子break 成不同的诗行的时候，它会有一些 poetic meaning 产生。那其实会很有趣。好 ，OK， that's it. Let me yes, I think if you want to compare, further analyze the poem, another thing you can pay attention to is to also include the title. Just now we didn't talk about the title. We only talk about the two lines. And if you include the title, then metro, station, they are all mechanical thing, or the so-called crowd. Like station has a crowd, the metro is the mechanical, and then you can see that the mechanical and the crowd, get to be opposed to petals and faces as individual beauties, and then more meanings can come out, in relation to the modern society. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me move on. Yeah. This is another repetition of what Ezra Pound follows. This is one visual representation of the poem. Another one, just for your reference. By the way, you don't need to do the scansion this way. In a station of the metro, the apparition of of these faces in the crowd, etc. Sometimes when you try to find out where the iambic is, where there are caesura, etc. You feel the rhythm, but I don't completely agree with this scansion, because I think that Ezra Pound does not use traditional meter, so there's no point in trying to scan this poem. You just try to pay attention to the heavy stresses towards the end, wet, black, bow, and that's very obvious. You don't need to scan it, and then you can feel the stresses there. Yeah, okay. And the apparition, the aspiration sound comes out very easily, without the need of scanning. Yeah. Okay, this is another poem by E.E. Cummings. One poem by E.E. Cummings. After this poem, we'll take a break, and then we'll talk about what I guess to be the most difficult one for this part, and that is anyone lived in a pretty high town. E.E. Cummings is, besides Ezra Pound as an images, E.E. Cummings is one to practice and play with typographical marks a lot. Because of the typewriters, he's able to move around, to use capitalized letters, lowercase, or to arrange the poetic lines in different ways. Okay, so this kind of poem is what we call concrete poem, and that is to use the shape of the poem to represent the ideas. Next semester, you will come across more of this kind of concrete poems. Some people call this poem a leaf on loneliness, leaf on loneliness, or some people will call it 1A. 1A. Okay, basically, here you can read this one as 1 or L. If you read it as L, then and you skip the parentheses, you have loneliness, right? But if you read it as 1, you have 111-inness, or 111-I-ness. It should be 111-I-ness. And then in the middle, leaf falls. Okay, this is a very, very interesting poem. Basically, you can say that the whole poem is shaped like a tree, representing human identity, and then on the tree, a leaf falls. Okay, just as the tree is lonely, human being is lonely. Okay, and then you can also say that this loneliness is interrupted by a leaf falling, in the sense that although each of us is lonely, if we can appreciate a leaf falling, then we don't feel that lonely. This is a little bit like I'm nobody, who are you? As long as you can appreciate another person's loneliness or another person's smallness, you don't feel that small. You don't feel that lonely. There is a sympathy developed between the two of you, and that's why loneliness is interrupted by a leaf falling. Okay, and what is interesting and also very playful about this poem is indeed the interchangeability, because of the typographical marks, 就是打字机的那个 marks 哈。Interchangeable, that L and 1 can be interchangeable. Okay, like this can be L, this can also be 1, and this can be L, this can also be 2, right? Double 罗马字的2, right? Okay, 1 or L, and this can be inness, or it can be I-ness, and that means self. Okay. Anyway, so I think you can find out more meanings. I'm just pointing out a few elements that makes the poem really meaningful. A kind of meaningful concretization of our loneliness.